Shanes has been explaining the selection of some of the new faces in the world champion T20 squad. In the past couple of days, it was announced that Nicholas Pooran and Rovman Powell are being rewarded for sterling performances with the bat in the recently ended Caribbean Premier League, as star batsman Chris Gayle is unavailable due to a prior engagement and Lendl Simmons is out for medical reasons. Now, speaking on last night's radio cricket talk show Mid-Wicket on Q100.7 FM, Brown explained that while the Test and One-Day international teams are in the developing stages, the T20 squad is the West Indies star team, and any player selected for that side must be in very good form. He says that's why they picked both Pooran and Powell.
As the game get more dynamic and people obviously are looking at the way we play cricket, where we have a whole set of power hitters, we obviously have to think about strategy. And one of the things when you look at young Rovman, he can also get off the strike pretty easily. Young Pooran, as you know, he came through our under 19 program. He always was one we had our eyes on. He also played pretty well this year in the CPL, and you know he was out injured for a little while, and he is now back. And we saw opportunity where he can fit into what we are looking for. And obviously we also have to look at down the road, and we think these are two young men, not only young, but they're also talented, and they also can deliver.
The WICB chairman of selectors also defended the selection of Chadwick Walton despite subpar performances in the T20 ODIs and Tests. Now, Walton played 2 Tests averaging 3.25 runs, 5 ODIs averaging 4.25, and 2 T20 internationals averaging just 4.5 runs. The Jamaican also hasn't been wicket-keeping at either the club or regional level, but Brown says Walton still has a lot to offer.
Chadwick was around for a while now, and he's always been one who at the top of the order could be very explosive. He also bat down the order as well, and he also keeps wicket. So he is a good player to have in the squad because he's dynamic and he brings variety. So we have to be a little more dynamic and make sure that we cover all our bases so that we have adequate replacements. Yet Chadwick have not been keeping it well, but you know that he is a bloody keeper. It was always his upbringing. He's just not going to forget how to keep wicket. I'm not saying that Chadwick is there to challenge Fletcher as a keeper, but I'm also mentioning that he can keep as well. So we have options.
Switching sports now, Barbados finished 7th earlier this evening at the Norseca Women's Under-18 Volleyball Championships in Puerto Rico. The Bajan girls defeated French St. Martin in the 7th and 8th place playoff in 3 straight sets, 25-12, 25-4, and 25-8. Renna James led the way for Barbados with 12 points, with 8 of those coming off her serve. The final will be played tonight between the United States and the Dominican Republic. The gloves are off, and the heavyweights of the road tennis arena are ready to take center stage in the Monarchs of the Court competition. Next week's showdown is the first of several big money tournaments slated for the remainder of the year, and it's expected that rivalries renewed will draw huge crowds to road tennis once again. Over the last 3 years, 3 men have been on the Mount Olympus of road tennis in Barbados. The ever-consistent Mark Venom Griffith, world boss Julian Michael Jackson White, and the most fierce attacker of them all, Anton Lil Man Daniel. These are the top dogs who will attract most of the attention when a number of big tournaments hit off, starting with the Monarchs of the Court, the top prize, a new car. Now, in the last few months, the man to beat has been Jackson, who defeated Venom twice in the finals of the recently held Burger King Invitational Tournament.
The last 2 tournaments I played some very decent tennis. Me and Venom dominated the whole tournament by going finals in all 2. And I'm in some very good shape, to be honest, but I can't just only look at Venom alone. You know, he mentioned before you have Antoine Daniel, we have the late Andy Black Dog Richards, most likely will be back out. You have Curtis Jones, and most definitely you can't take anybody lightly, because, you know, there's just one particular night it takes to be knocked out to a tournament. So it's all about just being a little careful, hope things go your way, and try to be as successful as possible.
Despite the recent success, Jackson doesn't believe he's a crowd favorite.
I actually don't think I have the biggest fan club right now for sure. I think Venom will have that by all means, you know, because he's a new player, not really relatively new, but, you know, he's the individual that dominated the sport between the last 2 years, and it was also good for road tennis as well. And for me, it also gives me that push to try to get back at the #1 spot, which is also trying to be a very hard job at doing it as well. But I think it would be very good to see all of us as road tennis players not only competing, but after the game. I think road tennis is one of the only sports that I think you can see that we interact with one another at a certain level as well.
Meanwhile, Venom is working to improve his form and fitness, which he says is not where it should be right now.
Currently, I wouldn't say that I'm in the best physical form that I'm usually in at this time of the year, being that this year was completely different to previous years, where I had a couple of tours to the Caribbean island in preparations of the World Championship, and also now currently dealing with the academical side of the game as well and coaching. So my physical game has dropped back a bit. The upcoming season, I'm still looking to maintain and defend all of my championships, because most likely now the majors are upcoming and I'm the defending champion in all the major tournaments coming, so I'm also looking to defend those as well.
But he says the return of his arch enemy on the court will drive him to defend all of his major titles.
I always believe that Venom and Mark are two different beings. Antoine Dial brings out the venom in me, so he always gives me that extra push and desire to be successful.
Now, Antoine Lilman Daniel, meantime, has been training hard for the big comeback. He walked away with the $10,000 top prize back in 2014. This time, he wants the car.
Well, the training I'm doing right now is not for the big amount of tournaments, but the tournament here for the car, I think this is worth it. So I'm putting in a lot of training for this one. As you know, I don't play in every tournament that I play, but I pick and choose the tournament that, as you would say, that lucrative. Tournament for a car, they never had a tournament in Barbados for a car, so I think it's good to come out and, you know, try my luck with it.
Now, some critics say Daniel's all-out attacking style can be his downfall when coming up against players of the likes of Venom and Michael Jackson.
I'm very accurate in what I do, and I'm very daily in what I do. So I don't agree that, well, if you are hitting the ball, chances are the spoiling rate might be up a little. But I was spoiled 2-3 balls, and I correct it 4 or 5 balls. So I'm good. I'm not going to sit down and rally balls with men that half my age, and that's fooling myself.
Daniel says he's mainly playing the game now for his fans and sounds a warning.
Don't miss it. It will be vicious this time around.
Vicious indeed. Trinidad and Tobago have finished second in Group C of the CONCACAF semi-final qualifiers for the 2018 FIFA World Cup. The United States moved past them after last night's final round, where Trinidad lost 4-0. TNT had already qualified for the final stage of the qualifiers later this year. But the USA's win at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, saw them finish top of the Group C on 13 points, 2 clear of Trinidad. Guatemala's earlier victory over St. Vincent and the Grenadines 9-3 therefore meant nothing as they finished third.
First place in the group is on the line there in Jacksonville, town that gave us Leonard Skinner.